Meta has been looking for their must-have title, and I think they might have found it with Asgards Wrath 2. Sequel to the Oculus Rift exclusive, this MetaQuest-only title is a behemoth action RPG. I've been allowed to play the first 20 or so hours for this preview, and I have barely scratched the game's surface. It is a massive sandbox that looks and sounds great, so let's just get right into it. The first game ended with trickster god Loki trapping you in the prison he had been confined to, that rascal. You can choose to watch a quick breakdown of the first game's story, and I think it's enough to not feel left out if you never did. Asgards Wrath 1 and 2 are included with a purchase of a Quest 3 and cost $59.99 if you want to buy them on the Quest 2. I balked at that price initially for Quest 2 owners, but after 20 hours or so with the game, I get it. It is massive and probably the biggest I've ever played fully dedicated to VR. Being a mobile chipset, it doesn't have the same fidelity or even just focus as VR's champ, Half-Life Alyx, but here you get a sprawling, incredibly long action RPG with an estimated playtime of at least 60 hours if you only do the main quest, but rough estimates are more than over 100 for the average player. You'll begin with an epic boss fight before slowly being introduced to the game's many mechanics. You are a cosmic guardian, and you'll travel all over ancient Egypt and more, which I'll cover in the next week's full review. Asgard's Wrath's first playable character that your god will inhabit the body of is named Abraxas. He's a sword and board user and plays a bit like a VR Kratos if he were Egyptian. You'll have a main sword that can turn into a whip, a Captain America-style shield, and a throwing axe, and all of them can be thrown and recalled brilliantly. It feels incredible every time I throw an axe at a flying enemy, use a flick of my wrist to send it to flying at another foe, before parrying yet another one with my shield and slicing their head off. I'll need to see how the other playable characters control, but I hope they all feel this damned good. Asgard's Wrath does have a slightly cartoony look, but you can chop limbs off, you can chop heads off, you can slice enemies straight down the middle and see them split in half, but it's not bloody. Instead, everything is stylized with bright, saturated colors and glowy effects, and it looks really good. There's climbing, dashing, mounts to ride, and more. I've played with the lowest comfort settings on and felt fine even after 2 or 3 hour long sessions. And much like the first game, you've got a companion. A key difference now is that they can turn into mounts, and there are fewer of them. The focus has shifted to gearing them out, building relationships with them, and just having that genuine connection with each. And Asgard's Wrath 2 feels like a big budget title. It's got really good voice work and writing. The music's awesome, and the sounds of battle work really well, letting me know where enemies are using the Quest 3's built-in speakers. And clocking in at roughly a 30GB download, this one will probably be a little tough to fit on some older devices. We were provided with a 512GB Quest 3 model by Meta for last month's Assassin's Creed Nexus review, and it has been brilliant here. Alongside all the main quest stuff is the game's endless dungeon mode. These rifts are randomly generated roguelite runs that are a ton of fun. There's a light meta leveling system to them, and I've already spent a quarter of my time during this preview plugging away at them as I try to climb the leaderboards. The game also has a very light battle pass system that's tied to in-game challenges, and no clue if it's paid or not. It doesn't seem to be, and it offers up a bevy of cosmetic items. These include poses and titles for your asynchronous multiplayer avatar. In Rifts, you can choose to be a friend or foe to other players and leave a nice or evil avatar behind. And you can also leave Dark Souls-style avatars that do poses and point in directions pretty much anywhere as well. Wrapping things up, I am extremely impressed with the first 20 or so hours of Asgard's Wrath 2. It's so big that I couldn't even get through all of the environments that we're allowed to show in this preview embargo. I'll be back next week with a long, proper review, so keep an eye out for it.